Welcome to this week's how-to cocktail class from the Twisted Tale. Today we are delivering you two cocktails for the price of one. They are very similar, so we're going to talk about them at the same time, and that is the Negroni and the Boulevardier. They are the same drink essentially, except for their base spirit. The Negroni is chosen to be made with a gin, and it is lighter, crisper, refreshing. The Boulevardier with a whiskey. We're using a Buffalo Trace bourbon for today, and it's slightly heavier, maybe geared for the warmer weather, a more rounded feeling, full-bodied cocktail. Outside of those two base ingredients though, it's really the same thing. We're using Campari and sweet vermouth, and those are going into our stirred cocktail today. So we're going to start off here with building the drink into our cocktail mixing glass. So go ahead and put the ice straight in. I like to start off with the ice and put the spirit straight over top. Let the ice do some of that work right off the bat. It just makes things easier and obviously your life easier as well. If you prefer your Negronis, we're going to go with equal parts. So 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. Equal parts. For the Boulevardier, you can do that as well. I tend to prefer my Boulevardier a little bit heartier with the whiskey. So we're going to bump up the whiskey slightly and take down the other two ingredients. So whichever way you'd like to do it, that is up to you. Just remember there's 3 parts to this drink as a whole, and you can play with those to get your perfect flavor balance. So I do like my Negronis equal parts, 1, 1, and 1. We're going to be starting here making the Boulevardier to show you, and we're going to be starting with 1.5 ounces of the Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace bourbon is a really great bourbon to use as a base of a cocktail. It's from Buffalo Trace Distillery, as its namesake. It is their flagship bourbon. It is a rye recipe bourbon, but it is a great base bourbon. It's not too overpowering at all, but it's also not too flat. Because we are using robust ingredients in this drink, we really want a bourbon that's going to be able to stand up to those. So Buffalo Trace, a very good example of a bourbon that will do that in such a thing as a Boulevardier. So 1.5 ounces has gone straight into our mixing glass over the ice, and now we're going to pair those with its other two friends in this drink. First being Campari. Campari is an Italian liqueur. It's a very bitter liqueur. It's designed for the hot weather of the Mediterranean, where you can sit outside, refresh, sipping on a Campari on the rocks or a Campari and soda. But it also makes a really good ingredient for cocktails. Its bittering stands out. You don't have to use too much of it. It really creates a unique flavor, but that refreshing element that is designed for just drinking neat really pops even in spirits like a bourbon-forward cocktail. So for here, we've used 1.5 ounces of the bourbon. Instead of equal parts, we're cutting this down. So we're going with 3/4 of an ounce of our Campari and 3/4 of an ounce for our sweet vermouth as well. So 3/4 straight over the ice there as well. And lastly will be our vermouth. This is going to be a sweet vermouth. You can use your favorite vermouth. They each have different flavor profiles. So again, enjoy it, play around, make a few different ones and see where your sweet point is. For our purposes today, we are choosing to use Carpano Antica vermouth. This is a really well-structured vermouth between its fruit element, its herbaceous element, and its bitter and sweetness. So we have the bittering element of the Campari, slightly sweet element of a bourbon. This one is really going to pair well with both of those, bring everything together in a really nice harmonious cocktail once we get to drink the rewards. So again, 3/4 of an ounce. So we're going 3/4 mark on your 1 ounce side of your jigger, straight in over the ice again on top of those other two ingredients. And those are all the ingredients we need for the Boulevardier. So now we have let the ice do the work. We're going to get into some of the stirring. For stirring, when you have your glass, you really want to make sure that your ice is cresting over top of your liquid. So if once you start to stir, the ice drops down, just go ahead and add a few more cubes in there. That's going to make sure that all of the liquid is going to be interacting with the ice as you stir. You're getting proper dilution, you're getting a proper chill on your cocktail, so that when you drink it out, all of those flavors and spirits that you've put in are blended together, and you're going to enjoy something really tasty. All right. For both of these cocktails, you can choose. Do I want to drink it up in a martini or a Manhattan fashion, or do I want to put it on the rocks? We are going to be serving it up for today, but if you want it on the rocks, just get yourself a rocks glass. I recommend a big block of ice, like a 2-inch cube, whiskey block of ice, pour it straight over there, no problems. For here, we're going to be straining straight into our martini glass, and we will be doing that with a double strainer. So we have our cocktail strainer over top of the mixing glass, and we're going straight through our tea strainer to catch any little chips of ice that have broken off during our stirring process. Straight through. Looking good, looking tasty. But as always, a cocktail is not complete without its garnish. And today, you can choose again. So this is a cocktail of preference. We have an orange, which is for the oils. We're going to express over the top. Or you can go traditional with a cherry as well. For the Negroni, I tend to just do the orange. But you know what? This is your drink. You're making it for you. So spoil yourself. Do a bit of both. We're going to zest this orange. When you're pulling off the rind of an orange, you want to get a nice thick piece. I like to use a zester as opposed to a knife in order to leave all of the pith still on the orange. The pith can be a little bit bitter, but we do want to make it deep enough cut and thick enough cut that we keep the oils in there so that when we go to express it over the drink, which is just a little short, sharp twist over there to spray the orange oils over the top. Give it a little rim around the edge, and then just plop it in. So that's our orange. Now, as I say, we're going to spoil ourselves as well, because there's nothing like a good tasty treat at the bottom of your glass, especially after you have created this cocktail with such skill and patience. So we have our bourbon-soaked cherry. These cherries have been soaked in a mixture of simple syrup and bourbon. We've used Buffalo Trace in this case. They've been sitting there for about a month. They are preserved cherries, so they can sit and really get better and better with age. And that is just going to soak right into our cocktail as well, and we shall remember that for the last sip. So cheers to your Boulevardier or your Negroni.